Those who left, they left for their own reasons. You can't fault them. But for the ones who stayed, they did a hell of a job. And I'm glad they do it again.
It's time to put the win in winter at Dunkin'. Introducing Winter Blend Coffee, a vibrant new medium roast that's full-bodied and smooth with notes of ginger snap. Take on the day with Dunkin'. Enjoy a medium hot or iced Winter Blend Coffee for $2. America runs on Dunkin'.
From the bus, we went to Texarkana, Arkansas, and no, they didn't tell us where we were going. They didn't tell us where we were going because we would make certain stops, and every time we would make certain stops, the bus would make certain stops to different shelters. They would state that they're too full. We go to Lafayette and all through these little towns, they were like, shelter's too full. So we went all the way to Texarkana, Arkansas, and we found a shelter that really treated us nice, and they had computers and everything set up, for us.
I was in front of the bus. And they had no more seats when I got on the bus. So that little seat by the door, when you close the door, you should pull out. I got a seatbelt, wear somebody's blanket, and put it on. It was so cold, it was like penguin feet. It was so cold on that bus. So I'm in front of the bus. I'm seeing what the bus driver seeing. That little seat when you pull out, that's what I'm seeing. That over in Houston. Wake up.
The bus took us to Dallas, Texas. We stopped at Shreveport in one of the church organizations. We were free, and the guy who was driving the bus was an elderly guy. Says he had been driving for 24 hours nonstop. We were like, Jesus, get us out of this one.
And you really felt like, okay, I just went from being with thousands of people to no one. Like, where is it? It was just so. You were really out of your element and could not figure out what happened to the world. Like, I was in there for 7 days with all these thousands of people, and now where is everybody? Like, what was going on while I was in there,
When we checked into the hotel, it was very late in the morning, and so it was 6 of us, and we get to the hotel, and all 6 of us are going to stay in that room, and we felt like we had our own room to ourselves. But it was like, okay, I literally jumped on the bed and was like, this feels so good.
I was prepared for it to be a lot of stench and a lot of heat, and obviously a lot of feces and maybe even some blood. I didn't know exactly how bad it was going to be, but I just remember getting in there and walking around with these biohazard experts, and they were taken aback. I remember that's the thing that struck me, was just how awestruck they were by what clearly you could see was just a lot of human suffering.
I think people understood the importance of the dome and getting it back, getting the saints back, getting their lives back, and that if the dome were allowed to just remain in ruins, that it would send a message to the country that New Orleans just isn't making the effort. We're not going to give it a try.
but I mean, there wasn't an empty seat. Everyone was there. And I still remember kind of looking around and looking over to the other sideline, and I was like, there's no chance. There's no chance that we can lose this game. Like, impossible.
In 2006 in September, when we did the first game, you could say this city came alive. People got a little more morale to them. They were happy. They forgot the storm, all the bad times, because their team was back here.
By far the most electric event I've ever attended in my life. It was really, really, really special to be a part of.
What an amazing moment, you know. This is a city with a great history. And September 25, 2006 has to be a very significant date in all that's happened in this great city. I was standing up at the press box and looking down at the field. Well, at that stage, there came this music that I was not all that familiar with. And I realized they were singing something about the Superdome. There is a house in New Orleans they call the Superdome. Wow. That kind of blew me away. And then when I got into the Saints are coming, the Saints are coming. I looked at all of those people in the crowd and saw how they got into that change in emotion. When the Saints came on the field, and people started to celebrate.
I was our special teams captain, and one of the reasons I was even stuck in this league is I had found a way to block punts.
An amazing wave and change of emotion from walking into the building to when they went out.
When that game ended, they had whites and blacks hugging, kissing each other, and so excited to be back in the city, the Saints entertaining them, and they're enjoying it. And I looked around, 72, 74 people, I just looked around. And his first thought came to me, why it can't be like that always.
I mean, I drive by the Superdome on my way to work every single day. And I look at the Superdome, and you just look. You just look at it. Because, you know, we all share the same memory.
You know, I don't know if they were paralyzed and couldn't make the proper decisions. They were on vacation, didn't want to deal with it. You know, I try not to get into the whole politics of it. But, you know, nobody was prepared or really handled the response properly.
Well, I definitely think the governor and president could have, worked together better. I mean, they didn't need to, this wasn't time to be territorial and, be political.
No, I didn't point the finger at anyone. You know, I said to myself it was something that happened. Most media would say that this is something that's happened in the country that's never happened before.
My problems were self-induced. I did it myself. I kept my family in harm's way, and from a man's you never want to do that. Suppose I would have lost a family member because I didn't want to evacuate because I was selfish.
It's not my call. It's not my call.
Like spiritual people step up for their community. I haven't seen anybody.
You have to do it for yourself. You know, you've got to be proactive for yourself. You know, the lesson, depend on the government.
A recognition between neighbors that we're the ones that are in charge here. We're the ones that are going to make a change and get us out of this if anybody is.
I covered that wildfire in San Diego. I just happened to be out in California for a football story, and the paper sent me down to Qualcomm when they opened that stadium for the wildfires, and they wanted me to write a story comparing the two scenes, and it was a joke. The people in Qualcomm were getting yoga, performed on them. They were getting massage. I mean, they were doing yoga. They were getting massages. They had huge video screens, watching movies out in the parking lot. There was so much food there that people were taking it home.
That Danziger 7 I had an opportunity to talk to two of those officers. Prior to them being arrested, I advised them, get your affairs in order because you are going to jail. They asked me why, and I told them because this is a delicate situation where people were killed, people were shot. Well, I think at that moment testosterone may have played a part. They were in the back of some type of U-Haul van. Shots rang out from where, and the first thing they should have done was assess and then reacted. But they more reacted than assessing what was going on. It was definitely trying times during Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, the reputation we have, are far from other cities. We are corrupt. We are dirty. We just everything. We're everything that most cities don't want to be. But in actuality, most cities have the same thing we have, but they just bring it to the forefront here. I'm looked at differently in different communities. Different communities, you have people come up to me and say thank you. Just tonight, I had someone say thank you for doing what you do. In other communities, I'm just the police because I was a coward as a kid. I just want to rough up African Americans. And that's not the case. I tell them it's either or. There's a fence. You stand either on the left or the right. One side is good, one side is bad. We can't stand on the fence. You got to get on one side, good or bad. People don't understand what we go through. They don't understand that we put our life on the line for them. We're human. We have problems just like they do. Nowadays, I'm a gentler kind of person.
Ever since Katrina happened, we all thought that this was a cleansing for the city. I thought it was going to be one also. We were going to get rid of some of the old politics, some of the old criminals, and start fresh. But New Orleans hasn't changed. New Orleans is New Orleans. I still love it. It still has its grit and grime that I wouldn't change for anything in the world. Well, since the hurricane, my wife and I we got married. We had one daughter she was a premature baby. Since then, we've grown a family. Just had a son about a year ago, Rhett Charles Jr. So right now, we're just in the process of trying to move forward.
I'd never push it out of my mind. A smell would bring you back. Walking in a Superdome. The city is a constant reminder. Katrina made me realize that I had someone there that was for me, that was special. Through the grapevine, you always hear, thank you for staying. Even if the chiefs came to every one of us personally and said thank you for staying, I think it would be heartfelt. At the time, it's something that you do regardless. I get pleasure from being here from within. To this day, people still ask about the Superdome. You still hear the whisper, still in conversations. People talk about, it wasn't that bad, and some people say, it was that bad. I just sit and listen because they wasn't there, I was. Sometimes I join in the conversation, sometimes I just let people speculate. No one will ever know the amount of humility that went on in that place. I mean, it was, for lack of better terms, it was hell. Lock up, and I'm off to the Superdome. And as the people started pouring in, we started welcoming the people and doing what we needed to do as a police department. Before you know it, I'm awoken by the Superdome almost being ripped apart. Water's pouring in. I'm standing on a 50-yard line just watching water just come in through the roof. And here we are like, wow, this is serious. And as the day goes by, we hear that one